All right, welcome to part 2 of my personal library. As you can see, a lot going on here. Just do the little twirl. But before I look at these over here, I am going to start, sorry for the spinning. Ooh, give me motion sickness, just kidding. I am going to start here on this shelf first. I am going to go then clockwise around the room and come back over here to some of my limited editions. So, starting at the top, mainly a lot of fiction. There is some philosophy and history. Took me a while to get that Isabella. I try to get books as best as I possibly can. It annoys me whenever they're dinged up or, as I would consider, damaged. When I get a new book, I want a new book. Fahrenheit 451, which I have a new limited edition over here behind me. It's one of my favorites. Ray Bradbury's one of my favorites. I do like these Penguin. I think it's 13 classics. They're in the orange and white. I got 3 of them. Medieval Warfare. Then I have, now a lot of this shelf is old as far as it was from the mid-2000s when I was, as you can see, a World War II almost fanatic. Never was that big into the Civil War personally. Sorry, let me switch angles. And there are a couple older books in the back. Monteclair and Wolfe. I believe there's an old World War II guide. My grandfather was in World War II. He ended up getting me this Eyewitness, Nat Geo. And then the second, Charles had this Collier's, which I love. Collier's old encyclopedias. My grandparents had one I grew up with that I have from the 60s. But this is a history of World War II. It actually, it's pretty crappy around the edges, but it was, I believe, from 1946. I believe it was the year right after World War II that it was published. So it's got some images, and no, I'm not going to claim I've seen every image from World War II, but it has a lot of things that I've never seen in a regular World War II book. And then, of course, D.K. Love. Then some more of those Barnes & Nobles leather classics. Sherlock Holmes. Classic ghost stories. Love, that's the H.P. Lovecraft Complete Fiction, which I believe it's pretty close. S.T. Joshua, part of that. And I have a gap up here. So then I have some more classics. Princess Bride. Rings, which is The Ring. I just actually, again, remember I told you I don't like movie covers. That was actually a very cool movie cover. I've broken my rule a couple times. Then I start to go over to some amber. They are where you can get in the bargain sections on history. They're okay. Sometimes I'll see some things that I've read elsewhere or studied that I don't feel are maybe up to par. Freedom, A History of Us. It's pretty good. The Popes is actually pretty good. Again, it's one of those things, I've never read it from cover to cover, only parts. It's more like when I'm doing research or looking something up. I do try to write fairly often, though I've been in a rut lately. I did finish a draft for a book last December. Now here's a couple, and I guess this is the history person of me coming out, but some primary sources I've gotten at different places, whether it be Gettysburg, since I'm only about an hour outside of Gettysburg, Williamsburg, and then the 2 books laying supine are actually Damaged Amazon books from, I don't know, probably 8 years ago. And then this Book of Islam, which really wanted to look through it. It didn't hold up either. It's damaged pretty bad. Don't know how. There's just, and here I know I'm not pulling a lot of things out, but that ripped right there on the edge. Just standing. It was elsewhere on another shelf years ago. Not sure how it happened. So now it's kind of with the damaged book. And then just some other books I got from Ollie's and Second Charles. Art of War is the one the whole way to the left by the Dr. Seuss. Then I have some old sports, and I guess old yearbooks. Some old Marvel, DC. I know it's hard right now with the way the lights go on. I have some Batman, and Punisher was always one of my favorites. I actually liked Deadpool back before he was really big. Wolverine. Captain America is probably who I have the most of. Everybody's in Captain America. I did used to like wrestling hardcore. Not into it quite as much as I used to be. And then there's a bunch of basketball cards. Basketball is my favorite sport. And just a couple DVDs and some books to flatten out in case I have some damaged books. Then I have, if you go down below, I have some books that are too big. I do have, again, some very good Library of America, Leonard. Trying to see. There's some poetry. And then I believe Lincoln. And then there's an atlas. So the biggest book I have is actually this atlas on the bottom underneath the Encyclopedia of Dinosaurs. I believe my grandmother got that for me years ago. It's ginormous. World Atlas. And then just some books that didn't fit in places. I took them out. Then I get these down here in the corner. There's a box set of, I get Lapham quarterly. I'm actually subscribed to it. I do have also just some of the limited edition magazines are in this little white container. That's just some of my work from my master's back in the day. But I do have about 15 subscriptions. A lot of them are quarterly, so I know it's a lot of reading as well. Now we're getting into still, and I still haven't gotten any limited editions. Get a lot of these Penguin Classics when I can. I love these books with the blue and the gold. You're actually going to see a whole shelf of those. They're classics. Pan Classics. And then just another shelf of fiction. Again, I try to get a little bit of everything, so you're going to see a lot of variety. If it's been rated well or raved about, I'm going to potentially try and get it. Again, some classics. Gwen. Damn fine story. Master plots. You see a lot of writing in that corner. And then here are, and of course the lighting is cutting off these books. These are absolutely awesome. A lot of classics here. Another easy way. They are smaller books. They're not huge books. They look pretty good on a shelf together. I actually did try to keep these, I believe, by genre. So I have a Shakespeare section. I do love Shakespeare. And then just some more. I do like the dummies guides. Try to, again, learn as much as I can. Fascinates me just the history of anything. And then again, back in this corner, Forbidden Worlds. Those were at Deadless. I'm not sure if I'll ever be able to finish the actual series, but they're pretty cool. There's other series as well from the old comics. Annotated Dracula. Pretty cool. And then if I go to my top, Robert Jordan. I'm not very good, and I'll be the first one to admit this, I am not very good at finishing series. I usually read book one, and then because I have so much I'm trying to read, I move on. Now I just wanted to, there's a book here, Wrinkle in Time is one of my absolute favorites. That is actually from when I was in 7th grade. I got that edition. It is beat up. They were pretty much giving it away for free. I took it because I loved it. And then again, some more of the classics from Homer and Virgil. The Bible. I did grow up a Christian. though I'm not sure I would identify that way. Now, oh, you can't even see it. Have a really cool, there, that's better, student edition, and it's in Hebrew and English. Wish I knew Hebrew, but the English part is pretty cool, so that's something as well. Then again, just a lot of big coffee table size books. I love DK Eyewitness books. I know they're supposed to be for kids, but I mean, they do, to me, give some awesome information. Again, you can tell I love DK. I have looked a lot at these. Then again, some old, there's Pirates back in the complete corner. Just some older books. So remember the What Life Was Like I mentioned in the last one. This was the first one I ever got. I do love history in the Middle Ages, but I also love history around the world that would be considered medieval. Of course, I love the Japanese samurai. The Mongolians are actually, they might be my favorite to read about. I am fascinated by them. So you can see again, and here's another series that I really liked, a bunch from Scholastic, where Terrible Histories, I think that's what, or Wicked Histories. Wicked Histories, Terrible Histories is a show. But they're pretty good introductions on any of the ancient people that we know of as being pretty fearsome. Candide is actually my favorite book. That's the one that kind of turned me around. And then in the corner, R.A. Salvatore. You guys are going to have to fire me because I apparently need to set up some better lighting if I'm going to do this. And then C.S. Lewis, the whole series is there. Read those back in the day. Love those. Nora Roberts I have a little bit of with romance. I try to get some of what I think of as fantasy. Demonology, King James. Handbook to Literature, that was a college book. It's actually kind of beat up by my standards, but I do reference it a lot. You'll notice I do have some reference books. Again, some of these are actually from, the Harry Potter from my childhood. Those are from 99, 2000. The only reason the fourth one's not there is because it's upstairs. I was reading it. Everyday Life. I love anything that deals with that. And then again, just the coffee table. Huge books on everything. Shakespeare. Now, this huge dictionary right here it was actually given to me from my grandparents. Has a lot of words that we do not really use anymore. Love it. It's over 1,000 pages. But I mean, there's one page is, probably 2 or 3 pages in these other dictionaries. So it has a lot. Then my parents, when I was younger, got these volumes around, I believe it was 2000. Or wait, it had to have been later than that. Wasn't much though. I believe I was in middle school when they got these volumes for encyclopedias. Very fortunate I have great parents who were always pushing me to read. Just wish I would have done it when I was younger more. So again, a lot of fiction classics on this top shelf. I guess the samurai kind of messes it up since it's nonfiction. And going to the next shelf. Joseph Campbell, who I really like. You've probably noticed I have a lot of King. Did love Faust. Did love reading that in college. And then now I start to get into my shelves. Everyman's Library, which are the books the whole way, those 3 to the left, which the next shelf will be all them. Then I have the Library of America, a couple of those. I do like Frost a lot. Poetry. And I do have one play book, August Wilson, in there. I have some plays and different dramas throughout. And then, besides the Elements of Style, which kind of throws this off, but I need to fit something else on the shelf. These are the Everyman's library books. A lot of classics. I think they're very good additions, especially with money-wise. If you're not looking to spend, which most normal people aren't, over $50. Again, just another shelf of writing books, Leonardo da Vinci, history, again, everything. Sympathy for the Devil. I'm fascinated by that because one of the main characters in something I write all the time is a hopefully sympathetic devil character. If I ever can get it finished and published, maybe you can tell me. Then I have a magazine case. There are magazines galore in there. I have so many magazines I have to buy. On the other side where I showed you the back of these cases, I hopefully am going to put another case just for my magazines because I have so many. I'm going to have to get rid of some. Publishers Weekly. Again, if somebody wants to know what magazines I get because they're curious, I can always tell you. And then again, some classics. Neil Gaiman, John Irving, Rebecca. Then you notice I started the 100 Greatest Easton Press. Absolutely love these books. I think they are gorgeous. I think the only one that's not part of it is there is back in the corner Updike. My Penguin Classics, which I got a lot of those as well. Now this is where it's going to start getting tricky because of where the light's at. Alright, here's some Rushdie, King the whole way back. Now this last shelf's going to be blocked pretty good. Here, give me 1 second. I think maybe this will help. There we go. A little bit. Not a lot. I got Watchmen back there. There's DK books, influential books through history. There's some Osprey. Law 101. Again, pretty awesome stuff. Now, this shelf is the last one I've put in. This is where I start to get to some more of my limited editions. Spent some money on some of these. So this Jaws right here. Can never find a Jaws. There's a couple of my 100 greatest. I Am Legend. Suntup's fantastic. Subterranean. The Best Of. I believe that's the one I got that was signed by George R. R. Martin, because a lot of these are signed. And then the Subterranean Tales of Dark Fantasy, which I ordered the third one first, and then I had to go back and find the others. A lot of times I'll get those on eBay. Revival King, Red Dragon, Dark Regions Press, Awesome Algernon Blackwood, Centipede. Here is my newest Robin Hobb Folio signed. Pumped. Love Robin Hobb. And then I do have, and you'll notice I have an extra slipcase for the Fahrenheit 451. I had an issue with it, sent it back. They told me to keep the slipcase. For some reason, then they sent it, the new one with a slipcase, so that's how I have two. Misery is the very bottom. And then just some other books. I mean, this shelf clearly, you see my magazines. These things just need organized. I guess I'll have to do another video, I guess, huh? Lovecraft Country. And then again, I have another shelf that needs some organizing. All fiction and philosophy and a lot of stuff here. Just again, some of these books, one of these piles is from Scribbler. I started getting Scribbler for a little bit, and then it was just too much for me to keep up. I do really love Scribbler. I feel like if anybody's a writer and is looking for that, Osprey's back in that corner. And then I do have, just again, hardcovers. One that stands out here is Necroscope. Really want to read that. Heard a lot of great things. Mindhunter. Then again, another Uncle John's. Want to read Eyes of the Dragon by King. I mean, there's a lot of books I need to read. You'll notice. Alright, here we start to get to some limited editions. So we have Norse Gods. Those are fantastic. The Book of the Dead. Let me see if I can sit this down real quick. There we go. Now, the book, so you see Ecstasy of Fear. The book right beside it is William Pugmire. It was actually his first one that he did, which was a collection. He's passed away. That one, I had to throw down a little bit more money than I would have liked to have admitted. I'm not going to admit it on here. The Monk beside it, too, is pretty cool. It's a Centipede Press. Did not realize how big these books were. I'm not usually huge on fiction being that big. But definitely worth it. And then, so Fall River, which you see right over here to the right, there were some other Fall Rivers as well. They're very good, again, if you like your short story anthologies. A lot of horror stuff, but then there's a great American short story. Pretty cool stuff. Hemingway, I love this, For Whom the Bell Tolls, I got a year ago at Outer Banks, North Carolina. Island bookstores, which are pretty cool. It actually has notes and things that he did to edit, which is awesome in my opinion. And then here's where I really start to get into my limited edition. So that's a Folio anthology, which I know, again, because of the light. How to Get a Wrinkle in Time. These are just, Folio is fantastic. I do really love Folio Society. And as I say, Candy's the whole way back in the corner, and then American Gods. And then I believe it's Bertrand Russell, History of Western Philosophy, Science Fiction Short Stories, Folio Book of Ghost Stories. Flannery O'Connor, who I really like a lot. Here, let me see real quick. I apologize, I'm editing. Let me put up this light. There we go. So an Easton Press, Alcoholics Anonymous, which is one of the original editions. And then again up here, some different things. Exorcist, forgot to mention that one. M.R. James. Now here again, I'm starting to get to, there's a Candide, which is 100 Greatest Easton Press. I am getting the other books as far as collections. Some of these you can see are Centipede Press. I do really like Centipede Press. They're awesome. Then there's a Subterranean Swords and Sorcery, which is awesome. Then just some paperbacks. One thing that annoys me, like the Hyperion here, the Hyperion paperback covers are fantastic. I just feel like a lot of them are boring anymore, and there's not a ton of effort done. There's a Red Dragon, but again, I had the Suntup. I'm not going to go off on a tangent, though, as far as that, but there is Wonder Book is awesome by Vandermeer. Again, just a lot of history. But I just feel like the covers of the older paperbacks are a lot better. Even the horrible books had great covers. Here again is a list, or a row, of some of the Library of America. They do have some fantastic books. Now these are the last 4 shelves. My favorites, probably. So you have some Folio, Time Traveler's Guides, Planet of the Apes. Again, some of these Childhood's End. Ended up getting on eBay. Then some limited edition Folio Society, the Gene Wolfe one. I was pumped to get it. It was one of the last things that he signed before he passed away. And then, ooh, they're really reflecting on there. Let's see if I can take that away. So Grim Oak Press, ended up going through a lot of those. Again, there's that Terry Brooks. Then I have the Books of Blood Subterranean. I met Clive Barker last year at a con. I went to my first con up in New Jersey, Cherry Hill. Monster. He was pretty cool. Got a picture with him somewhere. And then Gollum, which I actually had to get off eBay. Fantastic condition. And then I got the Lord of the Flies and Man in the High Castle. Another row of Easton. Some of these, though, are not part of the 100 greatest. Schindler's List. Independence Day. Yes, I keep the temperature. 75 is too high. Don't rub it in. Christmas Carol. One of my favorites. And then the last one is just some horror fiction. So the horror fiction's fantastic from Cemetery Dance here. And the reason that's so cool as well, it gives you a story for each year. So a short story. I loved it. So there's 2 volumes of that. There's a Webster's Visual Dictionary, which I love. Easton Press. The Broken Empire. I read the first book of that. Mark Lawrence. The slipcases for these are about to come. I just ordered them from Grim Oak Press not that long ago. And then again, just some others. Suntup, Rosemary's Baby, Horns, and then I got an old vampire anthology back in the 90s. Won it in an eBay bid. If you're in a bid, you gotta win it. Alright, last thing before I cut this off. Let's look at what's on top. So I do have some Funkos. Don't have a ton. So there's my cartoons. Originally when I started this, I had to make a rule that it was, and see Conan and Bill Nye break that. But my first rule was that I had to stay within literary. There had to be at least a book or a comic. Of course I broke that rule. 2 Cthulhu's. Ooh, that light's getting a little bright. Sorry, Poe and Martin. Then I started getting, which this is fantastic. Love these. Mini Epics. Belrog. And then, here's the other ones I started getting. So I started collecting this series. Have a couple more coming. And then just some things that Pura Vida was from Costa Rica. And then just some things I got from my grandmother. When she passed away, I took them. Alright. So that is part 2 of my library. If there's anything maybe that somebody has requested, they want to see anything specific, let me know. And I can go over it. I didn't expect this to be a half hour. Hopefully I can tone that down a little bit on my next videos. Again, I could probably keep talking. I'm not going to. So thank you for watching, and have a great one.